Jerusalem, the gateway to God for three major religions, and possibly the most fought-over city in history. Pilgrims, and everyone else for that matter, are always said to go up to Jerusalem.
And that's not a metaphor.
The old city is entirely surrounded by the city wall, and everyone is said to have their favorite gate to go in. And this is possibly mine, just because it's so pretty. This is just inside Jaffa Gate.
You can go up the ramparts and walk on top of the city wall, all around the city, and it's phenomenal. You have the most amazing views of both the new and the old city.
The most recognizable icon in Jerusalem is this golden dome, which belongs to the mosque, or rather Muslim shrine, called the Dome of the Rock, because it houses a very holy rock, which is sacred not just to Muslims but to Jews as well for separate reasons. And this shrine stands on top of the Temple Mount, which was probably my favorite place in Jerusalem. It is this wide open space on top of the highest hill. And this is also where the Jewish temple used to stand, because there are many synagogues, but there's only one temple, originally built by Solomon. It was here that Jesus kicked the merchants out because they had turned the temple into a market. That's a famous story. And this is the only thing still standing of that temple, the Western Wall, the holiest place in the world for the Jewish people. And I found that to be so typical of Jerusalem, that everything is stacked on top of each other. For example, this is Mount Zion, where you will find the tomb of David. The David, as of David and Goliath. And right on top of that is where Jesus had his Last Supper, in this room. And this Jewish cemetery in the Kidron Valley is where the Last Judgment is prophesied to occur. People wanted their bodies to be the first to awaken, so this has been a cemetery since the time of Jesus. And again, on one side you see the Muslim shrine, and on the other you see the Mount of Olives. This is the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus prayed throughout the night before being betrayed and arrested in the morning. These places are deeply meaningful to me, but I wrote about that on my Facebook page and my Instagram, so I won't repeat that here. But the gate that is closest to the Mount of Olives is where the Via Dolorosa starts, the path that Jesus is meant to have taken on the way to the crucifixion. It goes right through the throbbing heart of the old city, where you will find all of life all at once. And then you suddenly stumble upon the holiest place in Christendom, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the site where the actual crucifixion happened, where Jesus was entombed, and where the resurrection happened. A huge church was built to house these sites. Inside is absolutely massive. And as you come in on the right, you climb some steep stairs to get to the top of Golgotha, the hill of the actual crucifixion. Then you climb back down and you find the tomb where Jesus was laid to rest. It is also inside this massive church, and it may not only be the holiest place in Christendom, but also the most powerful place. I had a very powerful experience when I visited that tomb, but there is in fact another contender of where the tomb of Jesus may have been, and it is this beautifully maintained garden called the Garden Tomb. And regardless of where the resurrection actually happened, both places are more than worth a visit.
I am finding Israel quite expensive. Even groceries are more expensive than in London. The only thing that is really cheap and really delicious is these pastries, which are amazing, both savory and sweet. And I'm trying very, very hard to live a healthy lifestyle and keep to the salads and fresh fruit and vegetables. It's hard